On today's episode, we have a very special interview with Mike Muehling, the Hudson Valley head football coach and athletic academic coordinator. We're back, and I don't mean the Bump and Shoulders podcast. I mean we're back in football season. Feels great. This is episode 36. I'm here with Nick Kappas and Chris Wilson as always. Nick, how you doing tonight?
Well, I mean, football season's back, and we finally got that big game between RG3 and Chase Daniels. So
Chase Daniels is money.
I mean, that's the peak of football season. It's over.
Yeah,
No reason to watch the rest.
Doesn't get better. Chris, I bet you didn't watch it.
Sure didn't.
He doesn't know who either one of those guys are.
I know who Chase Daniels is. He was
But
the
not
Missouri
RG3.
You don't know who
quarterback.
RG3 is?
I know who
though?
RG3 is too. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I went with the more unknown guy first to show that I know him.
Which one won a Heisman?
RG3.
Lamar
Chase Daniels
Jackson.
was in the running though, I think.
What year?
I don't remember what year he was in the running, but he was a really good quarterback for Mizzou.
RG3 won it the Andrew Luck year, right? Like when it wasn't that
Yeah,
like
I
Andrew
think
Luck,
Honey
RG3,
Badger.
Trent Richardson, the Honey Badger.
Yeah.
That was a stacked class,
Yep.
except for Trent Richardson.
And then he wore the socks up there,
Yeah, he
right?
wore
The Superman socks.
And
Yeah.
his mom talked about how he used to throw footballs over the house and then run behind the house and catch it.
Which
And
isn't
I
true.
don't believe
No,
it.
no, probably not. It's
He's
got to be
not
such
that
a
fast.
thin house.
He's not that fast.
Or it's a super wide house and he just throws it so high up.
Or they lived
Yeah.
in a car.
Oh, that's depressing.
But he could get there, I'm sure.
Or they lived outside.
Oh,
Just
What do
threw
you
it over
mean?
a sleeping bag.
oh, Nick, that's terrible.
He was a kid.
So
Nick, they should bleep your name out of the podcast after you said something like that.
Yeah, every
are you
time I say Nick.
saying?
You're saying EA Sports is right for bleeping out Comics name?
Oh God! Don't say that.
Why?
It's a cursed word.
They're not listening.
He's the EA Sports pretty much made him he who must not be named.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the second time
He's
they've done it,
Lord
too.
Voldemort according
What
to EA
was,
Sports.
what was the Big Sean song?
Well, I
It was
don't
something-
understand the logic behind it, because what do you think gets more, like, attention? Like, them putting a song in there and that happens to mention Kong's name, or them going out of their way to blur out his name? Like,
Well, eventually, like, you know, in 20 years when some rapper goes like, "Oh, Chris Wilson's a bitch," is your name gonna be bleeped out of Madden?
No,
I
they're
hope
gonna
so.
leave
That'd
it
be
in
so cool. Like, if people, like, protest to get it back, like, oh, fuck yeah.
I hope your song's I hope your name's in a song called Big Bank eventually.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But it's about how you're a bitch, how you have a little bank.
but, like, I feel like if you get mentioned, you gotta have,
But
like, a bigger bank
The
than most
problem is,
people.
it's gonna be Big Bank by Timothy Troya.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's gonna get, like, 1,000 views at most.
Hey, dude, 100,000.
Here comes something about his paychecks being around 100,000.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about my Twitter fame. That was awesome.
Oh, yep. It's the fame or the money. You take your pick with this guy.
What's wrong with that?
A lot.
Hey, you know what's bigger than that shitty preseason game?
No, it wasn't a shitty game before you had
Connor versus Khabib finally announced.
Before we get into
October's-
that, hang on. Hayden Hurst looked good.
Oh, God. Now we're going to have to stomach this football talk.
Hayden
that you
Hurst
have
has
here.
nice hands. Lamar Jackson looked pretty good. Scrambled well.
Dude, you're just puking on the mic right now.
No, you can't tell me. You didn't watch either, probably.
No, I didn't.
You sat there and
It's preseason.
fingered yourself.
This game don't matter.
Yeah, it does.
No,
It's not even really preseason. It's preseason week 0.
Exactly.
They still play 4 more preseason games.
Joe Flacco didn't even bother putting pads on.
No, none of the. Mitchell Trubisky didn't either.
He looked good though.
Mitchie T.
Joe Flacco, no, he looks
Oh.
good coming in.
He
this
looks
season.
handsome, yeah.
Yeah,
He looks like he's ready to ball out.
dude, he looks super
He looks
handsome.
like 2012.
Physically, he's
Yeah.
a little scruffy, though.
Looks
right?
like 2012 Flacco.
No, it's like a handsome scruffy.
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
Like this is by far his best looking season.
Yeah, you don't think
As
the
a-
shave would
come
help
on.
his...
Remember
as a
the
man-
mustache? Remember the Fu Manchu ear?
But he didn't look good with that. He looked funny.
No, he looked awesome.
He looks handsome coming into this year.
He does look handsome.
and I
confident.
trust a handsome quarterback.
He looks confident. You trust a handsome quarterback. You love Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're gross.
Name a guy
looking
more
individuals.
handsome.
Peyton Manning looks like a moon.
What?
The
Like
moon.
a quarter moon?
No, just, yeah. Absolutely.
I don't see that.
I don't
but
know. I had a dream that he was a moon face once and kind of just stuck.
Stop talking.
RG3 looked solid. His only pick was because Brashad Perriman sucks, but he's getting cut. He's getting cut, I think, after that game.
Oh, did Malachi Jones play at all? Do you know?
No, not that I saw.
But
If I'll be honest, I wasn't really even thinking about that. I was excited to watch Ryan Nall.
how do you do?
I mean, he got gobbled up a lot.
Oh God!
Everyone on that Bears got gobbled up, except for Benny Cunningham. He looked good.
Bill Belichick didn't watch, so technically Chris and I are the best coaches ever in NFL history.
He laughed. No, he
Good
went
job,
back and
Chris.
watched the special teams plays.
Good job, Chris. That's what
We
Chris
did
and I
it,
did
Nick.
do.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you
we
hear
did
the
that.
way he talked about it, though, when they asked if you watched it? He went
Yes.
17-16. Sounds interesting. Or sounds exciting.
So,
But that's...
here we go.
And breaking news, the new Madden did not come out today.
Oh God, here we have to hear
Yeah,
your
the
sob
nerds
story.
at GameStop told you that.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the Hall of Fame edition. I thought it was because I would get it on the 3rd. I guess it's 3 days early from the 10th.
But you
so
play Madden a lot, and the average. I don't play Madden, but I've seen
I
you
haven't
play it
played Madden
enough.
in a while.
But I've seen you turn it on, and it says August 7th with pre-order.
No, it always says 3 days early.
But it's August 7th is
And
on
I
there.
see the
Yeah,
3. I see the 3 and I get excited. I'm like, August 3, I'm in. So I'll have to go back
So you have a
whenever the
simple brain.
7th is. Yeah.
A couple days.
All right, since we're shortened today, and I think we have a new segment we want to try out, let's get into your MMA shenanigans first.
Well, there's a ton of huge fights announced today. We have Conor and
Sure,
Khabib
sure
was
there
announced. Which everybody's acting like they're surprised by this. Like for me, I'll be more excited when the fight happens. But we've known this fight was going to happen for months now.
Yeah, no, it's
So to
there's
me,
not a surprise there. What I'm surprised about is like how much the general public's all over
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like that's really cool to see.
but I'm
'cause-
not like I'm seeing it and I'm like, well, yeah, we all knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
But I mean, we'll break that. We've broken that fight down so many times already on the podcast.
Connor came in at a early underdog, you said.
Yeah, plus 160.
I wish I could bet on that right now.
I'll give you I saw a tweet with the website that it's on.
Oh, well, I'm not just going to go open an account on a new gambling website.
no, because
Because
then
my
your money's gonna be
tied up
stuck in two places.
many
Yeah.
places, and I don't like that.
Oh, so you're like a cheap gambler.
Yeah, I don't know. I like where I'm at. I'm comfortable.
But some other fights that got announced today: Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier, and I think this is
Bad fight for Dustin. Me too.
no. I think this is Dustin's best chance at getting a title shot.
Disagree
Because
completely.
if he fights Tony and then Nate, say Conor beats Khabib, and Dustin beat Tony, Nate can still come in and go, "Oh, I want the title shot." He's gonna get the title shot over anybody.
I understand.
If he
from
beats
that,
Nate Diaz can't come in and say that anymore.
I just don't think he beats Nate. I think Nate like
Oh, I think
TKOs
he-
or finishes him.
No,
knocks him out or TKOs
Nate,
him.
I think Nate.
Nate's never gonna get a chance to find his range, I think, and Nate's
This is, I think, one of the worst matchups in the top of the division for Dustin Poirier. This is
No,
the
dude.
one. Why do you think Diaz is coming back? He wouldn't come back if it wasn't a favorable matchup.
Because
This
of
is
the
the
money?
only.
and he thinks it's a favorable matchup. But look at Dustin. Dustin's been killing strikers,
Right.
and Nate Diaz is 19-11. And look at the guys
He's been
lost
killing
to.
strikers, but he's
Benson
been doing it
Henderson
with the
outstru-
same
Benson
style that
Henderson
Nate Diaz
outstruck him out.
outstrikes people.
Benson Henderson outstruck him.
He used his wrestling in that fight too.
Conor
A lot of
McGregor
that fight was
outstruck him
with his
in the
wrestling.
beginning of actually in the 3rd and 4th round. He also outstruck him.
Conor McGregor also knocked out Dustin
This is going to be
Poirier.
a
so
3rd
it's-
round fight. Nate Diaz speeds up when his opponents get tired. Dustin Poirier, we haven't seen get tired. He's gone 4 rounds.
We
He
haven't
looked
seen him
perfect.
get tired, but we've seen him get finished. I mean,
Yeah,
how
145. We have not seen him get
Yes, we
finished at
have.
150.
Michael Johnson. He got knocked out cold by Michael Johnson.
That
Look
was
what Nate Diaz did to
2.5
Michael Johnson.
years ago.
Yeah, but still. I mean, Nate Diaz is. I think this is going to be a way harder fight for him than somebody else at the top of the division for him.
I just don't think Nate Diaz is even
'Cause
at the top of the
The
division.
way Dustin's been winning his recent fights has been using his boxing, finding his range, and getting into a rhythm. I don't think he can do that against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz's biggest problems are against guys who kick really hard and
Dustin-
guys who put
Did you
pressure
not see
on
what
going
Dustin,
forward.
How look at how Dustin softened Eddie Alvarez up. He calf kicked
He
him,
threw it-
knocked him forward, and caught him. He did that 4 times in the 1st round.
I just don't think.
If he does that to Nate, it's the same thing he's going to do to.
I think he's going to get caught in a boxing match, and when it comes to finding his range, he's the smaller man compared to Nate Diaz. I think he's used to having that reach advantage, being able to keep guys on the outside with his hands. If he tries to do that against Nate Diaz, it's not going to
I think he's
go
just
well
going to
for
go
him, and he's
so
not going
low
to
on
submit
his
him on
leg.
the ground.
I think he's going to go so low on his leg. Nate Diaz is just going to never be able to put weight on that front leg, and if Nate's either going back and can't put weight on his feet, we've seen how bad he does.
Maybe, but
What do you mean maybe? We've seen how bad he is.
we
when he
have,
goes
but then
against
we've
guys who
also
kick his
it
legs.
depends what Nate Diaz we get, because if we get the Nate Diaz we got in the Michael Johnson fight, he was checking kicks in that fight. He came in shredded with a 6-pack, and he looked phenomenal when he took that fight seriously.
Yeah, but he's already
if he
bitching
takes
about
that-
this fight. Now that Conor
That doesn't
Khabib
mean
is
he's not training
announced,
hard.
He's bitched about it.
I think he's bitching about the politics behind it, which he has a point.
We also saw him got knocked out by Josh Thompson. And Josh Thompson
Once.
was not at the top of his game.
But he didn't get knocked out by Conor McGregor.
yeah, but
Dustin got knocked.
doesn't
Anyone
have
can
to-
get knocked out.
Dustin doesn't have to knock him out. I don't think Dustin
No.
knocks him out.
No, but I don't think. I'm saying I don't think this is a favorable matchup for Dustin. I think this is the best matchup for Nate Diaz, and that's why he picked this fight to come back.
I don't know.
I'd lean toward Nate early on.
All right. I mean, we disagree, but I think Dustin has everything it takes to finish him. I think Dustin is.
I think
Dustin and Conor are the two best at 155.
I think Dustin's boxing is phenomenal, but he's going up against one of the best boxers in the lightweight division who's been doing it for so long.
I think this is going to be
who
the
can
true
take a
test
shot.
too.
It will be a true test because if Dustin gets past him, I don't think.
But we've never also seen somebody really comparable to Dustin's boxing, and on this run he's been on.
Yeah, exactly.
On this run, we haven't seen anybody who's been able to stand in there and strike with him.
So people saying that this isn't a good opportunity for Dustin, I think they're
I think this
very
is great.
wrong. I think this is great for him because he doesn't have to fight someone like.
But like I said, by him. But why I think this is a great opportunity from Dustin is what I said earlier, is if Dustin beats Nate Diaz, it almost guarantees him a shot at the title.
But if he loses,
whereas if he was to fight Tony and beat Tony, Nate can come in from the shadows and just go, I want to fight for the title. And he's going to take that over anybody else if Conor wins.
I think if
Khabib wins, because you got to remember, Nate Diaz is the second biggest draw in the UFC right now.
I think this was the perfect matchup for both guys.
Yeah,
given the circumstances, to
get that title shot, these two guys have to beat the winner of this gets the next title shot.
That's why I think it got made so quickly. Because this came out of nowhere. Nobody was speculating this after Dustin won.
What scares me is Dustin just fought.
See, I feel like if Dustin loses this, he gets shafted in the long run for a title shot.
Well, I don't think so, because I think the loser of this is fighting Tony Ferguson.
Could be. What about Kevin Lee? I mean, we haven't talked about him in a while.
We also have Kevin Lee. So you got to remember, Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson are sitting in the wings of this.
Yeah.
So actually, here's probably if the loser of Conor Khabib, they'll probably fight Tony.
Yeah.
The loser of Nate Dustin fights Kevin Lee. You got to remember
this. Do you think Nate fights again if he loses?
No.
No.
So then what happens if Nate loses?
I have a hard time believing
Kevin Lee just kind of waits for. It's gonna be like a weird.
Waits for his opening. Yeah.
You gotta remember,
he's in his bag.
The weird thing about 155 is the division's so stacked right now. It's probably the most stacked we've ever seen a division at any point in UFC history.
Could we see Ali Quinta and Kevin Lee again in the meantime?
I don't think so.
No.
Ali Quinta's kind of just like sitting there doing nothing.
Selling houses, not doing nothing.
And the UFC's like the UFC's all pissed with him, so they're not going to give him really favorable matchups.
It's bullshit. I want to see him fight again soon.
And Chris Weidman and Luke Rockhold.
That's official now?
I've seen that. LA Times confirmed it.
Yeah.
I thought we said that a while ago. No, or was it just rumored?
It was rumored. LA Times says it's official.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything, but there's also been so many big announcements that could easily go under the radar.
3-round fight, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're targeting it for?
Dustin and Nate
so is Dustin and Nate.
It's all MSG. And then
that's a great fight.
That doesn't have a main event yet, does it?
No. So I'm imagining they're going to put someone.
Diamond DP and Nate.
You know what?
It's Tyron and Darren Till, I think.
Oh, okay.
When is this?
MSG. It's November.
Oh. Because that'd be a month after the Conor Khabib fight, right?
If you notice, all these 155 fights are going to be around the same time.
Yeah, because
so that way they can
just for booking purposes.
To keep them together.
But I don't know. UFC, if you pay attention to it, it's crazy right now. The thing that sucks is their ratings are the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah. It just doesn't have the same feel around it. Like there's some.
Well, look at the card this weekend. We have TJ and Cody, DJ and Henry Cejudo.
Yep.
And then you have Cub and Hanato, which would be like that'd be a great main card kickoff.
Yeah, exactly.
But then on the main card, you have a guy from Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series.
I saw that.
You have five guys from that show.
Which guy from Dana's on the main card?
I think it's Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
But you have 5 fighters, all from Tuesday Night Contender Series on this card. They're not big names. So you have a lot of. The cards are stacked in the
UFC hyped it up more to get these guys some more eyes.
That's what I was saying to you earlier too. Is like.
Well, I thought you were saying it for the sake of hyping it up for TJ Cody, but like, I kind of wish they hyped it up more just so these guys get
Yeah,
that
but if you
chance on
hype
the
up-
big stage.
The thing is if you hype up these two big fights enough, people are gonna watch the whole card, not just
Yeah.
those two fights. So you hype up the whole card, then you go, oh shit, this guy's mad. That's what happened with Conor, you know.
Going back to how or I guess just this card in general, you came in today saying you had a little bit of a different feeling than your initial reaction for DJ and Henry Cejudo.
I've been watching the embeddeds and I've been watching the countdowns, and like it's a weird thing to say, but I get like when you watch those, it's the week of the fight. And I feel like you can pick up vibes off fighters.
Yeah, I've actually been paying
DJ
attention to this one. I'm excited for this card.
But I like to pay attention to those because, so when we recorded, we were talking about. I mean, you guys probably won't believe me. Actually, Timothy will, because I came in and said this. When Stipe and DC first got announced, I said DC all the way. When we sat down and did the podcast, I said Stipe. When Embedded came out, I switched back to DC because Stipe was talking about how he's going to have a baby and how he's worried about rushing home.
Yeah.
Shit like that changes fights for these fighters. Demetrius Johnson said he's talking about this fight, and then he wants to fight TJ for a super fight, and then he wants to retire. He wants to ride off into the sunset. He wants to fight at 135, win both titles, ride off into the sunset.
That'd be so cool.
But a fighter talking about retirement scares me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just feel like, I don't know. I feel Henry Cejudo.
Henry Cejudo's a meaty underdog coming into this.
I feel like he has, if he can catch DJ just once, he can start using his wrestling.
Here's the only thing,
as soon as he uses his wrestling, that's it for DJ.
I think Henry Cejudo's significantly better than he was when he fought him the first time, without a doubt. But if you look at it, I don't think he had enough time to get good enough to beat Demetrius Johnson after their last fight. Because if you look at it, it's like, yes, he did get better and he looked great his last two fights, but it's only 2 fights since the last time he fought him.
The only thing that scares me is he's done MMA for less than 8 years. Henry Cejudo.
Exactly.
But if you also have to remember, though, like I said, if he can catch DJ, hit a takedown, Henry Cejudo is going to be heavier than anyone DJ's ever wrestled with.
Right, but if you look at their last fight, Henry took him down. DJ got back up.
But what I'm saying is he needs to get him. He has to catch him with something. Henry Cejudo could put him away too.
He could. He's looked good his last 2 fights. But the thing is, like,
he's
only fought 2 times since the last time he fought Demetrius Johnson.
But like I said before, this is DJ's hardest fight ever at flyweight. I think this is his hardest.
It could be. But that division is so cleaned out to the point where Henry doesn't have the time to go and. Yeah, I don't think he has the time to get good enough and beat enough guys to get the confidence to come in and beat him.
If DJ does what he did to Henry last fight, the last time those two fought, then DJ's he's the best, one of the best top 3 fighters ever,
without a doubt.
But if Henry can bring it to him, then we start to see holes in DJ's game, then maybe, DJ's great no matter what. And no matter what, he's one of the all-time greats. But if Henry can show a hole, then maybe he's not like this untouchable god at flyweight.
Yeah.
Some food for thought. Henry Cejudo is plus 375 coming into this. It's a big number. Big number for a guy Nick's got a gut feeling about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said this last podcast. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea to throw some money on it.
And some breaking news from Nick's favorite football player of all time, I think, Johnny Manziel. He started for the Alouettes in the CFL.
Yeah.
Threw 4 interceptions before halftime today.
Not bad. He's learning from Nathan Peterman.
Comeback season, huh?
Yeah.
Do you?
Now, how do interceptions work in CFL?
I think
are those touchdowns?
I think you start and you get a goal kick.
Are those touchdowns?
It's just a penalty kick.
Are 4 interceptions good in the CFL?
It might be. I feel like there's normally more. Do you guys have anything else MMA, or do you want to try and work into our new segment real quick?
Let's go into the new segment.
Is producer Pops ready? Yep. All right. We're gonna try trivia out for the first time. If this goes well, it will be a consistent Friday thing. We're hoping.
So we're gonna do snake draft. Am I kicking this bad boy off?
Yeah, we'll do a snake setup. What's going to happen is producer Pops will ask us a question. All 3 of us will have a turn to answer. We'll start with Nick first, and then Chris will answer, and then myself. And then the next round, Chris will answer, then me, then Nick, and then I'll answer, then Nick, then Chris.
I wasn't listening, but do you want Chris to hum us in?
You know how it works. No, we don't hum into it.
He was getting ready to
I was getting ready.
Yeah, but Chris, go ahead and hum us in.
Trivia of the day. Only for Friday.
Oh, God. The alarm was going off.
That wasn't on my end.
Oh, man.
I don't know what that was.
Was there actually an alarm? Should we be concerned?
No, I think we're all right.
All right, let's get rolling.
Are you guys ready to do this?
Let's go.
Nick, you're first.
First question. Who won the Baseball World Series in 1994?
The Yankees. They were dominant in the 90s. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, man. Yankees. Bronx Bombers.
Only because he doesn't know any other baseball
No,
teams.
We'll go with the. Let's go with the. Oh man.
Go with the Tigers.
Let's go with the Angels.
Well, it was a trick question. There was no World Series.
Oh, it was the lockout
1994.
year.
Oh, he shit on us. That was oddly specific. We should have picked up on that.
Yeah.
Do we have a?
We got our.
I'm too
Nick's-
familiar with that.
I'll keep score on here actually. All right, Chris, so you're gonna answer the next round first.
Yep.
Oh, so this isn't a snake draft.
Huh?
No. Oh my God.
All right, Chris. Well, Chris going first. What sport used the term home run long before baseball?
Go with your sport.
It's gotta be a sport.
Cricket.
Sport older than baseball.
You're up.
It's America's sport.
Sport older than baseball.
Let's go with polo.
And I'll go with. I'll go with rugby.
Chris got it right.
Was it cricket?
It was cricket.
Yes.
That's bullshit.
Cricket, Chris.
You're darn right.
Producer Pops
Darn
ate his honey.
tootin'. With that early lead.
It sounds like he ate his honey more than the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think he mixed his
He's
mic
got
better
that
than
deep
ours
voice,
to come in
dude.
smooth
Oh, yeah.
and baritone.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here's one that's not football related. Name or
Okay.
not football, sports.
Or the other ones.
Sports related. Name the largest freshwater lake in the world.
Oh, this is easy work. I think we're gonna have to go with the Ontario.
I'm going Erie.
That's a canal, you dipshit.
Lake Erie, dude, not the Erie Canal.
I'm also going to have to favor Ontario.
And none of you got it right.
Damn, I was confident.
Champlain.
The correct answer was Lake Superior.
I knew that.
Oh,
That's
'cause
why
it's
it's
superior to all the other ones. Yeah.
Indeed.
It's the Five Finger Lakes.
No. Almost though.
All right. Question number 4.
Let's nick this round, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Chris.
Okay,
Come on.
God.
1,
I'm
2,
just-
3. He would be 4.
I'm figuring it out still.
It's not a hard concept.
What color jersey is worn by the winners of each stage of the Tour de France?
They wear jerseys?
They wear rash
That's
guards,
your
you know?
answer.
Yellow.
I feel like
You know what? I was literally going to say yellow also.
'Cause,
I don't
like-
want to sound like I'm copying you, but I've definitely seen yellow bikers.
Because, like, gold. Does the winner of this get anything? Because if not, I'm taking a shot in the dark here.
No, what the hell would we get?
I don't know. Green.
Just bragging rights.
Green.
No, this is the first one. We'll figure something out about that after.
Green. We'll have to keep score, too, of the overall trivia winners.
Winner gets to
I'm
make.
going green.
All right. Well, the correct answer was yellow.
Bullshit. I'm just trying to swim upstream, you know? I'm trying to be a salmon.
Winner
here.
gets to make Chris eat dirt.
Well, you're not
No.
going to win anyways.
What
Chris
if I
is-
win?
Chris has
You
got
have to make yourself eat
Chris has
dirt.
got a commanding 2-1 to 0 lead.
All right. Next question. Which chess piece can only move diagonally?
I was in the chess club.
Oh, man.
I know
I
this
don't
one.
remember the names. Ah,
Tying this bad boy up. Come on, you have a timer, dude.
what's it called? It's not a rook.
No.
3,
It's
2,
I guess we'll just go
1.
rook because I can't remember the name.
Bishop.
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 Yeah, it is Bishop.
Okay.
Tied up,
Tied
baby.
up.
2, 2, 1.
Chess club finally paid off.
Nerd.
All right. Next question. Before the NFL mandated the use of helmets in 1943, who was the last player not to use one?
Oh, I feel like there's got to be multiple choice here.
No.
You can even name the football team.
The Bears.
I'm going Johnny Unitas of the Baltimore Colts.
I'm going the Steelers.
We're going to have to give it to Timothy with the Bears.
Oh,
Lineman Dick Plasman.
Oh, of course.
good,
Of course
good
the-
old Dick Plasma.
We're tied 2-all. I hope we have a third round.
We got a couple more here.
All right.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right. This one's a little easy. Vladimir Klitschko is a champion boxer for which country?
Russia.
I feel like that's too obvious, but I'm going to trust you guys on this one. So Russia.
You guys are all wrong. It's Ukraine.
I was going to fucking say Ukraine, but I was
As
like,
soon as
I
said
trust you
Russia-
guys.
Yeah.
As soon as I said Russia, I went, fuck, it's the Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's why I closed my eyes.
I went with the safe bet there.
I got to stop trusting you guys on
China.
fight sports.
Never mind, I'm not going to say it.
All right. Next question. Which is the coldest game in NFL history?
The Ice Bowl.
Got to be more specific.
Teams.
Was it Bears-Packers? Yeah, Bears-Packers.
Yeah, Bears Packers. I just said
No,
that
you
weird.
said Bears. Bears
Fuck you.
Packers.
It's Bears Packers.
Timothy said Bears Packers, and there's no Bears team, so
We need an answer from you, Nick.
Bears Packers.
That is correct. It was no, I'm sorry. You guys are wrong.
Vikings Packers.
No, it was the Cowboys Packers.
Oh, man.
America's team.
How'd they sustain that cold, huh?
They didn't.
Zeke could not get the ball moving.
All right. This next question,
Am I first?
whoever
Yeah.
this is the last one. We're
Oh,
all
man.
tied. So if you guys guess the teams first, and then we're gonna go closest to the date. If you guys all
okay.
get the
All
same.
right.
So, which was the first televised game of the NFL?
I'm going to go with the classic rivalry there. It's got to be Bears Packers in this case, right? Bears Packers.
I'm going Chiefs Packers.
Uh,
That's the first Super Bowl.
Yeah. Could be.
Jets Colts Super Bowl.
3.
Negative. You guys are
Nobody.
all wrong. The Brooklyn Dodgers versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh,
that was a
we're
great
playing
game.
baseball.
Yeah,
That was the old baseball football mashup.
So are we going year now?
No, that was actually football.
I know. I didn't think there was a baseball football mashup.
The old baseball football.
Well, you never know. Yeah, you're gonna have to guess give me the year that you think the first game was televised.
Was there TV in World War One? No, wait.
No, absolutely not. I think you knew
I
Close
was
that.
to say 1944.
I'm going 1961.
Dude, no way.
I'm going 1952.
It was 1939. Timothy got it.
Holy shit.
He's closest.
Oh my God.
Oh, sit down. 3-2-2.
October
back seat, guys.
22nd.
What a comeback.
True underdog story. If anyone deserves it, it's me.
Yeah, great. Just gonna feed your ego.
Chris, not Timothy gets to feed you dirt. You have to eat it out of the palm of his hand.
Both of you guys.
No, I'm
You
not
guys
eating
tied
dirt.
for
Yeah,
last.
no,
You have to eat poop.
you can't
too.
have no punishment.
I'm not
You're
eating
still
poop.
sitting on
Yeah,
this
you
poop
still
pick.
have
I don't
to.
even
That's
remember
still
what the
a
bet
problem.
is.
If the
Oh, I
Titans,
forgot
if
about
the
that.
Titans make the playoffs.
No, that's definitely not what it
Yeah, it
was.
was.
Yeah,
It was win the Super Bowl.
No.
And I'm
was-
not eating poop
it was
because I
win a-
never agreed to it.
it was win a single regular season game.
It was not go
It was
0-16.
participate in the 2018 season.
Nick, are you I hate that we're doing this.
I hate
Producer
that you're
Pops
texting.
gave you a word. No, I'm pulling up your word. He gave you a word for your word of the day. Oh, we're doing that after the interview?
And then we'd wrap it up.
Okay, Nick. Sorry. So I guess we'll transition to this interview, the aforementioned interview with Mike Muehling, the HVCC head football coach and athletic academic coordinator. Nick, you were the only one present with me for this interview, obviously. Fun time, right?
Yeah, it was a great interview.
I enjoyed it. He was very, very rich history. He coached with guys like Doug Marone. He coached Chandler and Arthur Jones. Very friendly guy. And here you go. Let's give it a gander. All right, guys. Today we are joined by Mike Muehling, Hudson Valley Community College head coach and athletic academic coordinator. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for coming on and joining us today. We are kind of just wanted to get to know you a little bit as a coach and I guess as a person.
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Before we get started on the football talk, I'm interested in the athletic academic coordinator
Okay.
role you play. What exactly is that, if you can explain that to some of our listeners?
Yep. So I'm kind of the liaison between the academic side of the school, our academic resources, and our coaches and athletes. I try and I work closely with a couple different academic resources, one being the Center for Academic Engagement, on a couple programs. Right now, the Student Athlete Retention Program in just trying to ensure that our athletes are doing what they need to, not just academically to stay eligible, but to graduate and move on and take advantage of any opportunities they may get athletically.
Oh, that's awesome. That seems like it could be a lot of work to take on top of coaching, right?
Certainly in season it can be a little tougher than out of season. Obviously, the one nice thing is that probably one of the biggest populations of student athletes on campus is the football program, so I have a lot of involvement with them anyway, and ensuring that they do what they need to academically and as far as study table hours and progress reports and kind of maintaining their academic obligations while they're athletes, which can sometimes be the tough part if your athletic academic coordinator is dealing with the coaches. Well, you know, the coach of probably the biggest population of students for that sport is me, so at least there's no conflict of interest there. You know, I was a high, not to toot my own horn, but I took academics pretty seriously while I was in college. I was a much better student than I probably was a football player. So I tend to err on the side of be a student first. You are a student athlete. So we're constantly reminding our kids of that. Even at a community college, the majority of these kids are going to have a longer career in their academics than they are in their athletics. So they need to be doing what they need to in the classroom.
Yeah, it's very important, especially if they're working closely with you through it. Then it kind of puts more of a responsibility on the player's shoulders as well, trying to live up to your academic expectations on and off the field.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? Which one do you personally feel like takes more out of you workload-wise throughout the whole year? Is it a lot more work running the academic side of things, or do you think coaching takes more?
Well, to be honest with you, it's coaching. Anytime you're running a sports team, a program, that's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of, in-season time. But with a sport like football, where you're talking, you have, 100 student athletes, if not more. And in our institution, I'm the only full-time coach, so I'm the only one dealing with them day in and day out in every aspect of really their athletics and also their academics. That's going to be, a pretty challenging and pretty substantial part of the day. In season, as any coach would know, but particularly football coaches, that's a huge time commitment. But then because I'm also, recruiting at every school is a pretty big portion of the job. But when you talk about a school like ours, now you're talking about recruiting on both ends, recruiting guys to come in and play and trying to help our kids get recruited going out. And with me being, like I said, the only full-time coach on staff, that's a pretty big obligation and a pretty substantial commitment. So that's probably the role that takes up the larger portion of my time. But certainly as athletic academic coordinator, that is also a pretty substantial amount. So, sometimes it feels like it's 6 one way, half dozen the other, but from where it stands right now, I'd say definitely the coaching is a larger chunk of my time and effort.
Yeah, very busy person.
Now,
A lot of hats.
with shows like Last Chance U showing that these players that have been to the bigger universities and maybe it just didn't work out there, coming down to these junior colleges, is that giving more attention and maybe helping you out recruiting players from these junior colleges? Or from these bigger colleges?
It can be a little tough to say. I'll be completely honest. I actually have not watched the show. My athletic director was talking to me about it the other day, and he was pretty shocked I hadn't watched it. We're in a different boat than probably, the two schools that have been featured on there, simply because we are non-scholarship junior college. The one good thing about it is it does bring exposure to community colleges in general. We don't typically get a lot of the Division I bounce backs simply because a lot of those kids are going to get recruited and scholarship at community colleges. But we do get, Division II and Division III and NAIA bounce backs. We're probably seeing a lot more of them now. I'd say this Last Chance U has probably had an impact on that because a lot of kids go and see, I could go get re-recruited, or I did really well at this school. I might be able to improve my stature and get an opportunity moving out. In fact, this last year, probably one of our most productive players was a student who had gone Division III out of high school and bounced back to us, not because of academics, but because he wanted to improve his recruiting. And sure enough, he had a great year, and he ended up getting a Division I scholarship. So I'd like to think part of that is, these kids see the exposure with that program and realize, this would be a great opportunity for me. So that kind of worked out for him, and I think it's definitely bringing a lot of kids to us as a result.
Now, Mike, you spent a couple years working in Syracuse, 4 years coordinating in Indiana. Walk me through a little bit. How does a kid from Bloomington, Indiana, wind up coaching in Troy, New York?
It's kind of interesting. A lot of it's just timing and different systems along the way. But I grew up in Bloomington. That was my hometown. I after college, I went back to Bloomington and started my coaching career there at IU, and I've been fortunate my entire coaching career to work for some really great guys. I worked for two really good guys there in the late Terry Hebner and Bill Lynch. And at one point after my, I want to say fourth year there maybe, I had a decision to make, and I needed to move on because my role in Indiana I was a graduate assistant for a while, and then I was with the strength staff, and I wanted to stay in coaching, and I didn't have that chance because I'd moved into a strength capacity. So I went to Arena and coordinated in the Arena with a great staff there as well in Green Bay. And then while I was there, a guy I called who had worked for my dad, because my dad actually was a football coach as well. He worked, no surprise, he worked at Indiana, which is why I grew up there. And a guy who was at Syracuse, Scott Schaefer, had GA'd for my dad way back in the day and said, hey, I'm joining Syracuse's staff. Do you think you'd be interested in coming out here? And obviously, I was really interested. I reached out to a guy I knew now, the late Bill Mowry, who had been my dad's head coach, and asked him if he could help me because his son, Mike, had worked with Coach Marone at New Orleans. So he called Coach Marone, and I got out there, and Coach Marone talked to me, and he said, to be honest with you, if Bill Mowry is willing to call me, and recommend you, then I have no qualms or any hesitation in bringing you in. So I went out with Coach Marone at Syracuse, and I worked there for 2 years, and it was a great experience. He's probably one of the best coaches I've ever been around in my life. I can't say enough great things about him. But then 2 years after, into that, my roommate at the time, who was from this area, Kevin Vanderzee, whose dad is a longtime Ravina coach, Gary Vanderzee, he had said, hey, Hudson Valley's head coaching job, I think, is going to be coming open. Would you have any interest? So I said, opportunity to be a head coach, that's something you don't want to pass on at the college level. I was pretty young at the time, so I felt like this would be a good move for me. I said, yeah, I'd be interested. And I interviewed, came out here, interviewed, came back for a second interview. One thing led to another. I was fortunate enough they offered me the position, and here I am. So it's kind of just been some people I know helping me along the way. to kind of move up my career. And, some of it's just been timing and being in the right place at the right time.
That's a lot of traveling for one person in coaching. That's crazy.
Oh, well, sometimes in coaching like I said, I worked with Coach Schaefer. I think at one point his daughter had gone to 6 different schools in 6 years in 6 states. So I considered myself to be somewhat lucky in that regard.
And you, when you were working in Syracuse as a defensive quality control coordinator, you had guys like Chandler Jones on your roster. What was the work ethic like in a player like that over just a typical player? I mean, he's a Pro Bowler now, 17 sacks last season, and you saw him coming up in college. How was that?
Oh, yeah, Chandler was a great kid. What's interesting is that whole family was unbelievable athletes. I mean, I had Art as well, his older brother who won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. But Chandler was always trying to beat and kind of outperform his brother, which was tough because his brother at the time, Art, was thought of as one of the best defensive linemen in the Big East back when there was a Big East. And so Chandler was trying to surpass his brother's legacy. So he was always working. The great thing about Chandler is he had a good, positive attitude, which not every player does. Chandler always assumed he was going to do really well and kind of had this attitude that it wasn't arrogance, it was just confidence, and you were confident in him because he was so confident in himself. He always worked, but he always had a smile on his face. He always, made everybody else want to work harder. He wasn't a guy who necessarily took plays off, but he had a lot of fun while he played football, which is what you want.
And like I said, in Syracuse, you were defensive quality control coordinator under Doug Marrone. In Indiana, you were offensive quality control coordinator. For our listeners who might not know exactly what that is, can you run down what those positions entail?
Oh, yeah, and it can vary from school to school. But when I was at Indiana, I originally started working with the tight ends with Bill Lynch, who ended up becoming the head coach after Terry Hebner passed. So I was working with the tight ends, and I was running the defensive scout team, and I was doing all the film breakdown of the opponent's defensive scheme. So when we'd have our offensive meetings on, Sundays and Mondays, I was the one who had to present the whole game plan. Not necessarily the plays we'd be running, but what we'd be seeing from the other team defensively. Then I had to basically go implement that with the scout team defense to make sure they were doing it the way they were supposed to be doing it. I was also in charge of a couple recruiting areas like Wisconsin and Minnesota and some of the upper areas of the country. But that was kind of where I was when I was at Indiana. And then eventually I moved over to the defensive side at Indiana. But then when I got to Syracuse and I was working with the defensive line and the defensive quality control, I also was doing the breakdowns there. I was in charge of the scout team there. But I was the assistant D-line coach, and so on game day, I would be on the sideline. I would be in charge of relaying the information to the defensive line, what we were seeing up in the box, making sure their rotation was what it needed to be. I had a lot more, I'd say, involvement game day than I did when I was at Indiana because I was in the press box at Indiana. So it was kind of the same role but a little bit different. The big focus being on opponent scouting. In both schools was the opponent scouting and then the scout team implementation.
Now, at Hudson Valley, you were just talking about recruiting. How does recruiting at like a community college work? Do you guys ask athletes when they apply, or do you guys go out and recruit them?
We do a little bit of both. So the big difference between when you're at, Syracuse or Indiana and you have scholarships and you're targeting athletes and you're trying to essentially woo them, we're going to have kind of some student athletes at Hudson Valley that fit into a couple different categories. They're either going to be students that academically have to go the junior college route. They're going to be students that did not get recruited for one reason or another. in the area, or they're going to be kids, especially kids from the area, that financially want to make the decision to go to Hudson Valley because it's so affordable, as opposed to a D3 or a D2 or a Division One even that may not be giving them a scholarship. So we'll target a couple different types of kids. We try to target area kids that are really overperforming. The sad reality, especially in Section 2, I don't think a lot of colleges come in here and recruit that well. I think Division 3s recruit really well, and sometimes they get kids that they have no business getting because, the D2s or some of the Division 1s didn't recruit this area as well as they probably should have. Last year there were some really good players in this section that I don't think went as high as they could have. And I actually think that's pretty typical of every year. So we'll try and target some of those kids. We'll try and target some of the kids that really were just great football players in high school, but maybe aren't going to get recruited because they're short, or because they're slow for their position, or because they didn't have the production, or they played at a Class C or D school. One of the best players I had in my first year was from Mariah Central, which is Class D up north. He was a pretty good player there, but nobody goes and recruits Mariah Central. So he came to us. He was, All-American, honorable mention. Then he went on to Buffalo, earned a scholarship at Buffalo, and was a great player for them. So those are kind of the areas. We'll recruit some kids. Some kids will just come to us. We get a lot of kids from the Maryland area because there's no football playing junior colleges in Maryland that will express an interest. So some come to us, we go try and get some others, and some just kind of show up day one. Hey, I saw this on the internet. You have open tryouts. I want to play here. And we give them an opportunity as well.
Now, your father worked in the recruiting field in Indiana for a while. Do you think that helped you growing up around that, learn how to recruit at the college level?
I would like to think so. It was funny because I have two older brothers, and my dad, he was a recruiting coordinator at Indiana. He took us all on a recruiting trip at different points over his career. So I can remember when I was in either fifth, I think it was sixth grade, I actually came out to New York because he was recruiting New York at the time, and I got to go into schools with him. So he came out and he recruited a kid named Geronimo Siriaco, who ended up coming to Indiana, was a great football player. Had a long career. He recruited. I remember going out to Tottenville and meeting Adewale Agunlie when he was a high school senior, and he ultimately committed to Indiana and obviously had a great career there and played in the NFL for a long time. So I can remember going into these high schools and seeing how my dad interacted with their coaches, with them while they were in high school. So I got a firsthand kind of glimpse into the recruiting world. And then obviously at those schools, when you have the big recruiting weekends, the assistant coaches bring their families. So we would go bowling on Sundays with the recruits on their official visits and some things like that. So we were around it growing up. I'd like to think I guess got a little bit from that. Sometimes I realize that I'm not probably as good as my dad was at recruiting, but certainly I try to lean on him quite a bit for some of his knowledge, and I'm calling and asking him questions constantly, and he's trying to help me as best he can. So he's been a great resource and a great influence on me, but also he and I have both had to realize that kids today are a little different than when he was recruiting, and the internet wasn't quite as I guess, expansive as it is now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Before we get back to your current career at Hudson Valley, let's get the inside scoop on this a little bit. Bloomington Panthers, you won a state title with them when you were in high school as a defensive tackle. Your dad happened to be a defensive tackle coach in Indiana as well. Did he work with you a lot?
Oh, yeah, that was pretty constant. In fact, when they got let go at Indiana, when Coach Mallory got fired, he actually came out and volunteered and coached me through the end of my high school career. So I had a, when I was coming home, he was talking about it before he was even working with me, and then Unfortunately, when he was working with me, I had to hear it from him at practice. I had to hear it from him after practice. I had to hear it from him at dinner. So he was pretty influential on my playing ability, and certainly made me a much better player than I would have been. But we were pretty fortunate. We had a lot of good players when I was playing at Bloomington South. Our quarterback, he ended up going on and having a pretty good career himself. Played in the NFL for a long time, and I think if we didn't have Rex, we probably wouldn't have won as much as we did. So I had a really good support system around me. We had a lot of people that contributed to us being pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's an awesome coach to have coming back around, somebody who's done it at the college level, helping out with the high school. And you've been coaching at Hudson Valley since, what, 2011?
Yeah, I think that was my first season. You're right, 2011.
And of all the seasons, 2014 seemed to be a crazy one for you, going 8-1 before heading to Hutchinson, Kansas, I believe, for the Salt City Bowl.
Yep, that was the one where a lot of things just kind of fell into place. Really, the pivotal moment came in probably the second game of the season, third game of the season. We're playing Dean, and they're beating us at halftime. And I can remember just the feeling with that team when we went to halftime. The entire team was like, "Don't worry, coach, we got this. We got a good game plan. We'll come back." And sure enough, that they opened the half and they showed a formation that we'd seen on film. We knew every time they run this formation, it's either going to be a screen or draw, so be prepared for it. Defensive end fell out in the flats. Ashton McKenzie intercepted a pass, ran it back for a touchdown, and kind of started that second half off with that pick six, and that was a huge momentum change, and that really changed the season for us. Because you don't win that game, I don't think things go quite like they did, but certainly that was probably what did it, and everybody then had the confidence. Truth be told, that following season we were probably a better team, but certainly that 2014 season, everything kind of fell into place. We had some great kids who really battled their butts off to win games, and we didn't always make it pretty, but they always got the job done. Up until we ran into some issues late. The weather and Navy wasn't great for us for a passing attack, and kind of worked against us. And then that Hutch team we played in the bowl game was really stacked. That was where Alvin Kamara was. We thought we got lucky knowing he wasn't going to play in the bowl game against us, and sure enough, the kid behind him that played instead, he ended up getting himself a scholarship to an SEC school as well. So they were pretty loaded that year.
Yeah.
Well, looking it up, seeing that you were number 19 nationally ranked, I mean, that had to be huge. I mean, for your career, what was that like?
Being able to get us ranked, that we didn't know if that was something that was going to happen, because typically people don't value. I guess our program or just Northeastern programs very highly, let alone Northeastern non-scholarship. It's amazing because every year I feel like Nassau and ASA get undervalued when they have really good teams. So I didn't think a lot of people were going to look at us and feel like we should be a ranked team. But sure enough, those kids kept battling and finding ways to win games. And I think at some point when you look at a team who's 7-0 or 8-0, it's hard not to rank them. So those kids really worked to get that notoriety.
I mean, especially a team allowing under 20 points per game that season. That's absurd.
Yeah, we were pretty good defensively, and certainly that's where we're trying to get back to. We think we can. So, but those kids all were. They were really good performers, but they were a great unit.
Now, with just over a month and a half away from the 2018 season, how do you feel on just this close to the season starting?
Oh, it's always interesting. Well, our kids will report here Wednesday, so I got day after tomorrow is when they'll show up. I'm excited, but it's tough because. With us being a non-scholarship junior college, even when you sign kids to an NLI, I can remember 2 or 3 years ago, I signed 20 or 30 kids to NLIs, and I think only 4 or 5 of them ended up showing up to camp just because, oh, coach, housing, or, the money didn't happen, or my loan this and that. So you kind of hold on, and you're white knuckling it all the way till about August 10th. And then you kind of have a better idea of what your team's going to look like. For us, it usually hinges on the offensive line. If you've got really good offensive linemen, you breathe a little easier through camp. If you don't, hey, buddy, sorry about that.
No, you're all right.
If you don't, you get a little nervous and you start trying to scheme some things up. I feel great this year because this is probably the first year I've actually been here where I have an entire staff going into season. Normally I have a hire that's still hanging out there, or I'm trying to get something completed. Or one year I had a coach tell me on, July 28th that he wasn't going to be able to coach. So I'm fired up from a staffing standpoint. I think I've got a great group of guys that are all going to work hard and bust their butt to see that we're successful. And I think we've got a really great opportunity to be.
We look forward to coming out to watch you. Maybe we'll have to swing by and say hi through one of these games.
Absolutely.
Mike, we are running out of time here, but I want to get you out of here on one more question. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So, Doug Marrone on a more personal level. You buying the 2018 Jags or what?
I am. I can tell you this without a doubt. Nothing he ever does is a fluke. He's a very thoughtful guy who really, he always gets the most from his players. I think he's probably building a culture there that the guys are buying into. I know they're really tough defensively, and I always believe in teams that have a defense that tough. So I think he's got a great shot to make a run this year.
I hope you're right on that. They're a fun team to watch. Mike,
yes,
thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for this, and we really look forward to watching the games and seeing you guys succeed this year.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a great night, Mike.
You as well.
All right, thanks again, Mike, for taking the time to call in like that. We really enjoyed it, and it was super cool to hear about the path that you had to take to get from growing up in Indiana to coaching out here. It's not something you probably expected when you start coaching.
And the guy's football IQ is off the charts.
Yeah, he
great interview.
Coached a lot of places under a lot of intelligent people. It was awesome. Very rich history. Chris, have you listened to this off the air yet?
Not yet. I heard bits and pieces, but I'm looking forward to it.
What was your favorite part, Chris?
When he introduced his high school nickname as the Mule. That was my favorite part.
That was not in the interview.
Oh. I was behind the scenes. That's awkward.
Oh
Next word of the day.
Well, now you're making us seem minorly
with those bright red cheeks.
unprofessional.
With those bright red cheeks, you should probably hum us in, huh?
Oh, yeah. Next word of the day.
All right, Nick, are you ready for your word of the day?
Nope.
Are you ready for your definition?
Nope.
We're changing it up today. Guess what kind of word it is?
Adjective.
No.
Verb.
Yep. What's that? What's a verb?
It's what you do.
Stop. It's an action word.
Nick, your word is?
Contaminate.
Wait, I need the definition.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, God, I don't know how to spell it now.
Nick, your word's a verb. Make something impure by exposure to or addition of a poisonous or polluting substance.
Oh, so this is like what Chris does to high school girls.
A little bit, yeah. He gives them.
He makes them impure.
He pollutes them.
Contaminate.
Nick, Chris, you gotta say Nick, your word is.
Nick, your word is?
And that was not me, Nick. That was your
That was
throat.
my Chuck Whittabeer.
Nick, your word is?
Contaminate.
You ready? This one you can sound out from
Contaminate.
top. This word's too easy.
CONT.
Yeah. Yeah.
I.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
CONT. Contamin. I feel like it's not an M after that, because that just doesn't sound right.
Kidding?
Go ahead, keep going. What's your guess?
C-O-N-T.
I was my first guess, right?
Yeah.
Yes. C-O-N-T.
Contaminate. M.
Oh my god.
C-O-N-T.
Oh,
C-O-N-T.
you're a mess.
A.
Yeah.
M.
Yeah.
A.
Oh my god.
That's not M-A-T-E.
C-O-N-T-A-M-I-N-A-T-E.
No.
Nick, you can sound that one out from start to finish. Nick, update. We haven't talked to you since Monday, and on Monday you told us you were starting your diet. You started it Sunday this week. How's that going? Are you kidding? You're kidding. You're too quiet over there.
Oh no.
It goes good at work.
Oh no.
As soon as I get home from work, it goes downhill.
What's that?
That.
mean? I
Oh
watched you eat a lot
God.
of pizza upstairs.
Yeah, you did eat a
Two
lot of
pieces.
pizza.
I had the
Oh,
least
man.
amount.
You
He's
ate
drinking a water. It's gonna flush it out.
You ate a handful of pieces of pizza.
What?
A small handful,
Thank you.
like 5.
Thank you.
He goes because
What
I
do you
can count
mean
him on
when
my
you get
Well, you
fingers.
guys
What do you
know-
mean? I saw you eating a burger yesterday, a big fat burger with fries, and you probably stopped for ice cream or a nice shake after that too.
He goes, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Did you stop for ice cream after your burger dinner?
All right. Thanks for tuning in,
kidding.
guys.
No,
That was a
you're
great
kidding.
interview.
No.
Wait,
We're
no,
not getting out
you,
of here on that.
wait. You did what?
Nick, you were so worried because you couldn't feel your
Eats.
toes when you woke up.
Excuse me?
But I want to. My goal is to be on my 600-pound life.
No, it's not. Your goal is to live past 35.
No. That's
got-
your goal.
you got
That's your goal for me.
You got 10 years left on your biological clock, Nick. Time's ticking.
Maybe.
Right the ship.
Maybe.
Go for a jog.
You only got one life.
Yeah, and you're shortening
And
it by the
yeah.
minute.
Like the great Kelly Clarkson once
No.
said.
No.
What doesn't kill you makes
But
you
it's
stronger.
making your
Oh
heart
no,
weaker.
but she lost a lot of weight and like did good things.
But then
for
she put
herself.
it on.
No, yeah, she went through a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going
Because
through a lot.
You're not going
Because of
through a
that
lot.
guy, because of the guy that made it so she can't walk.
And
on
what
the
you're
bad
doing
side
is
of the
you're
road.
going through a lot because of your habits.
Yeah, you're not.
You're
eating.
going through a lot because you almost have diabetes. And your answer to
don't
that
know
is
that.
eating more.
No, we do know that, Nick. You've got minimal stressors besides your diabetes.
Yeah, you have minimal stressors besides the stressors you put on yourself.
You're attacking my weight, and I don't appreciate
We
it.
are. And I know you're probably gonna get ice cream after this.
I would enjoy a nice ice cream after this, but probably not now because I'm going to get bullied.
Be honest. Was it my email that broke you?
Fuck your email, dude.
I didn't hear about this.
Oh, hold on. I'll show you.
Oh my god.
This fucker. And the thing is, I never check my email. So like him sending this, it literally was to make himself laugh. Because I'm terrible at checking my email. So let's go look at my Sports Dorks email.
What a businessman doesn't check his email.
From Timothy Chura. Forward. Burger King $5 for $10 e-gift card. You scroll down. Hey man, he sent me a fucking gift card to Burger King. And the thing is like, he knows I don't check my email. So he just thought it would be so funny if I stumbled upon that in a few months.
Because he knew you'd take it up to the counter and ask him if it was still valid.
No, he just thinks it's so funny.
Oh, no,
Is that what-
no. He was trying to be a good friend.
Is that what broke your diet? Is that one of the things that put you
Hey
over
man,
the
if I
ledge?
can go to Burger King at $10 for $5, I'm not
$10 for $5? They don't just.
If I can get $10 worth of food for $5,
Yeah, it's
you're
a
not
steal.
You're not going to use that coupon.
If you're trying to not get diabetes, you might. You might avoid going, but
Sorry, I like saving money.
no.
Not your life, though.
So you're off the diet.
When I'm at work, I'm on the diet.
What,
Oh,
what
no,
do you
no, no,
mean?
no, no,
What do
no,
you
no,
mean
no.
when
You're
at
in or
work?
you're out?
What's your day like? You wake up, you crack open a nice fucking sugary iced
No,
tea.
dude, I drink water.
Eat a couple of Pop-Tarts, usually like 3
No,
packages.
at work I drink water.
No.
For,
You drink soda all the time.
I don't drink
Because
soda.
I'll die if I drink soda. That's what
So
all the
at work-
postmen say.
at work-
Yeah.
At work I'll get peanuts and a
Nice.
water.
No.
That's my breakfast.
And a box of Stewart's cookies.
And then for lunch I'll get a nice wrap.
And a box of Stewart's cookies.
No.
What do you mean a
no
nice
cook-
wrap? Define a nice wrap.
Fried chicken.
Yeah, fried
No.
chicken
He
wrap.
gets the KFC Big Bowl.
Yeah.
That is
Ain't no
literally
wrap.
a
He
clock.
goes, if I can fit it in the wrap.
Everything's healthier with a wrap instead of bread.
No, I get a
He gets a wrap instead of a biscuit.
Chipotle steak wrap.
Oh,
Okay.
the one that you said tastes like a taco, right?
No, that's the sweet and smoky guac.
You're a mess.
I get the Chipotle steak wrap, and it's delicious, you know. So, and then I get home.
And then what do you do when you get home? What's your typical evening like? You come home, you crack open that classic taste of Coke,
No, I don't drink Coke.
diet, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll get water with lemon, but the problem is I don't drink that at home.
What do you mean you'll get it?
I
What
tend
do
to
you drink
drink that at a
house?
restaurant.
Okay, stop going to restaurants. Skip that step. Go home and prepare a salad.
I work at a grocery store. You can come through my line, so that takes away the awkwardness of that.
No, that
he
makes it
can't-
more awkward.
Well, no, because he can't give you a discount because he has literally no pull in the company.
Yeah, but his rings per minute are kind of slow.
Well, no,
he is very slow with it. But
I feel like I could outring
gunning.
you.
you're gunning for shit, dude.
I'm gunning for
You're
a
trying
higher
to,
up.
You're trying to climb the corporate chain,
I am. I'm
the
doing
corporate food chain. It's ripping your hands
I'm at
apart
the top of that food
because
chain.
you're not calloused. No, because you have to cook the food you buy there.
Yeah, that's
You
why.
don't do that.
Yeah, I go to restaurants. They're my peasants.
When's the last time you ate a home cooked meal for dinner? No, come on, not this long.
What was it? Monday? No, Tuesday.
Oh, it's Friday.
Tuesday.
Did
Oh,
you?
oh, but
did
it's
you
Friday.
take any part in preparing the meal?
When's the last time you
No,
cooked
it was
a meal?
ready. It was already cooked. Oh no, it was Monday. It was
So
Tuesday.
It wasn't home cooked if it came pre-cooked.
No, it wasn't pre-cooked.
You just said it was already cooked.
No, Magda cooked it. I just ate it later.
Oh, well.
Oh my God! Cook your own meals, Nick. It's not hard.
This is coming from two guys who don't cook meals.
I can
live
cook.
home. I live home,
and I still
have parents
cook
that care about me. You're
Yeah.
25. You're an
Learn how to
adult.
learn.
I can cook.
You're 20.
Learn how to
Nick,
boil water.
You can make a nice tuna. A nice tuna salad. That's where
Cracking
your
open the
culinary abilities peak.
No, cooking's easy. You just have to pay attention to what you're
No,
doing.
no, no.
Oh,
Cooking's easy
no,
for
no,
you
no, no,
because you
no.
just go to the nearest
Yeah.
Fridays or pop open that Grubhub app.
I don't even have the Grubhub app on my phone.
Uber Eats.
I don't have-
Whatever it is.
Actually, I may have Grubhub still.
I know you have Grubhub still,
Yeah, you
dude.
do.
What are you going to do if Magda ever goes on vacation? Then you're ordering Grubhub 6 times a week. That fit there.
And the other
seventh
day
night
you
is
don't eat.
Friday when you're here eating pizza.
Yeah.
You have
It's
Grubhub.
still on
Did
there.
you just
Yep.
delete it?
No, I didn't delete it. It's
But
You're
it's not
saving it
there.
for emergencies only?
yeah, just in case.
All right, what are we at here? We probably need to wrap this up because this interview was mixed in there and you guys are bickering for too long.
You guys are working up my diabetes.
Do you guys want to call it quits here?
Yeah.
It was a big moment. Chris, thanks for taking the time to hop on that Mike Muehling interview with us.
No problem.
Fun fact, Chris was here and we said no.
I didn't
came,
ask.
Chris came strolling into the house. 2 microphones were set up, and Chris goes, "Guys, where's the third?" And we went, "Yeah," like that. But you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, you can find us on all sorts of things now. Oh, Lisp City. We finally are up to date on YouTube. That's a big deal for everyone.
So check us out on YouTube.
Check us out there. You can click it by going to our podcast page on the website. I don't know how else to get there without doing that, but you can find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Searching Sports Dorks Podcast. Sorry about dropping my phone. You can find us on Facebook at Sports-Dorks. Instagram and Twitter at Sports-Dorks.
Oh no. Oh no.
You can find me. I'll pitch me first. Fuck it. At Timothy J. Churon. I think that's all we need to cover tonight. Right?
You can find me
No,
at Nick
I don't think
Kappas.
we need
Find me at Sports Store
At
Chris.
Batted Relic.
And we'll see you at what day? Monday? Tuesday. Tuesday we're gonna get back together.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, check out my betting pages. That's so loud. That's so aggressive.
And if I ain't did it yet, I'll try.